Good afternoon, Engine Club. Good morning, Brad. Good afternoon, Brad. Good afternoon, Prof. Ang, and good afternoon, Student Life Office. My name is Eric, and together with my teammates, Noah, Arich, and Michael, we are Team N.A.M.E. And today we are here to discuss about change. So what do I mean about change? Well, we are obviously not here to discuss anything other than our problem, but we are actually giving a presentation to you. So what do I mean by discuss? Discuss actually refers to our problems, discussion spaces in engineering. So the problem that we have identified, and of course, today me and my team will present to you the problem, feedback we have gathered, the solution, and the benefits of our solutions. So first, Michael will introduce the problem, me the feedback, Arish the solution, and Noel the benefits. So without further ado, let me introduce my teammate, Michael, take over, give you some background on the problem, and to help you understand the problem better. So Michael, take it away. Michael, let's discuss change.
Thanks, Eric. So what are the problems in Faculty of Engineering? Our faculty is moving towards a design-centric curriculum. It means that we need to have more collaborative work. In other words, engineering students need to have a lot of discussions, such as project discussions. That is to say, there is an increasing need for discussion spaces and facilities in engineering faculty. However, if a group of students want to hold their discussion, they may not be able to find a suitable place. And that's the problem in Faculty of Engineering. We don't have enough spaces and facilities for discussion. Let's look at a chart. This shows the result of one of our survey questions. That question asks students to choose where do they usually hold their discussion. As we can see from the chart, a significant number of students choose to hold their discussion in YH, Utah, Central Forum, and Central Library. Those places are outside engineering faculty. But so why do those students choose to hold their discussion outside? We infer from the result that the facilities in engineering does not cater for those students' needs. On the other side, there are 60% students choose to hold their discussion on the benches along the walkway in inside engineering, and this is the most popular place in Faculty of Engineering. However, not all students can find an unoccupied bench when they want to hold their discussion. When students cannot find a bench for discussion, they turn to use the empty classrooms. But it's not a good choice, because their discussion may be interrupted halfway due to the coming lesson that is going to use the classroom. Since the students have no other choice, they have to take the risk of being interrupted halfway. From the above, I think you can get a brief idea that engineering students have suffered a lot from the lack of spaces and facilities for discussion. So what about the teachers? The teachers who conducting lessons in engineering faculty can also feel the strain. Let's look at a picture. It is taken from a CLC module ES2007. As you can see from the picture, it takes huge effort for both the students and the teacher to change the setting of our engineering classroom to be more discussion friendly. That is to say, our engineering classroom needs to improve to be more discussion friendly. Let's imagine that if we have a discussion room specially designed for that class, the effort of both the students and the teacher will be saved. They can use that time for teaching and learning. The efficiency of that class will be surely improved. From the above, I think we can say it's time for changes. The engineering faculty needs to have more facilities and spaces for discussion. That's all for my part. I'd like to pass to Eric. He will introduce the survey, the feedback from the students and the teachers. Eric, let's discuss changes.
Thank you, Michael. Feedback. Why is feedback so important? To prove that we are not just four vigilantes on a mission. Well, students and teachers both cry out for change. Then I believe that we should answer their cry. So to show you what they are crying out for, let me present to you the feedback that we have gathered from students and teachers alike. So first things first, we actually had a survey of about 80 participants, all engineering students, asking them to rank the importance of different factors towards their discussion. First thing that stood out to us from the results, PowerPoint. An amazing number of 69% actually said that PowerPoints were very, very important to their discussion. And none of them actually said that PowerPoints were not necessary in their discussions. Why is that so? Well, we can attribute this to the more design-centric curriculum, and we can also attribute it to the technological revolution, where school has gone from just paper and pen to laptops, iPads, electronic devices all around. Students use PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, Excel to facilitate their discussions. Therefore, to power these electronic devices, they do need PowerPoint. So it's very, very important. It's a very, very important factor to the students, and they have already made their intentions known. Next thing that stood out in our survey, movable furniture. Wow, that was quite surprising. Only 15% of students actually said that movable furniture was not necessary. The rest of them actually said that movable furniture was good to have or very important. Now, why is it so? We can attribute this to the dynamics of group discussions changing in the university. From normal pair work in labs of 2 people, we are now having to work in 4 or more groups. We have to be flexible. Having movable furniture to have that flexibility in classrooms, to have groups of 6 or 8, well, it really, really makes a difference. And of course, not having to crane your neck or like what you're doing now, sitting in rows and having to look at each other, well, not having to do that actually helps a lot too, ergonomically speaking. Finally, the big kahuna of questions, do we need more discussion space? The results are astounding. 85%, get this, 85% of students actually say, we do need more discussion space. So the students have really made their intentions known. The students have made their needs known to you through this survey. Now, let's take a moment to absorb the number. 85%. Astounding. Next, we have actually brought our results to the next level, and we actually presented our findings to a teacher who actually teaches discussion-oriented modules in the Faculty of Engineering itself. Dr. Ratika Jayadeh, she's been teaching here for many, many years, and here's what she has to say about discussion spaces in engineering and the classroom that she uses to teach her discussion-oriented modules. Ms. Jayadeh?
Yes, I think it's a bit dated the way we are now, in that old-fashioned rows and the tables are fixed. Because to some extent it gets very uncomfortable when you have to crane your neck and speak to the person at the back, or even to have a discussion in a straight row. I mean, to have to look at the third and the fourth person sort of leaning forward it does affect the discussion to some extent. And a lot of the Ivy League schools, as an NUS, we like to compare ourselves with those schools, right? Because we are ranked now. So if you look at the seminar rooms and the discussion rooms in most of the universities, you find that they've done away with this classical style of, classroom kind of a configuration. People sit in little clusters, and you can move the chairs and tables around in any shape you want. So that's better for communication classes especially.
I then proceeded to ask Dr. Ratika Jayadeh whether she noticed any discussion spaces around engineering. Walking by engineering on your way back to the CLC and everything, have you noticed any of the discussion spaces? For example, benches or...
There are some in that E1 block on the level that the tutorial rooms are in. There are benches outside. Similarly in I think E3 where I am, E3, just if you enter from the the little cafe there are some benches there near the trick machine. But other than that,
not really, right? Not really. Nothing that catches your eye.
No.
So, yeah. Okay, so here's what we got from Ms. Jayadeh. Ms. Jayadeh actually said, current classrooms are dated. They're uncomfortable for discussions. And she actually compared N.U.S to other Ivy League schools, where they had movable chairs, tables that they could, configure to any shape they want. Now, the question on whether she noticed any discussion spaces was interesting, because she only noticed 2 out of the 8 discussion spaces that we have found in engineering. Only 2. Well, this would actually mean that she hasn't really noticed any discussion spaces in engineering at all. So what have we covered so far? Students, through the survey, and teachers, through our interview, they are both begging for more discussion spaces in engineering, and we believe that their cries should be heard. This our cry should be heard. So to further introduce the solutions that we are very, very excited today to present to you, Rich, my friend, please take it over. Let's discuss change, Rich.
Thank you, Eric. So Eric just now talked to us about how feedback from teachers and students point towards the need for discussion spaces. Based on this feedback, we have come to realize that we need a discussion cluster. So this is a corridor full of rooms which are specifically designed to be discussion friendly. And we plan to keep these rooms open after hours so students can use these rooms at their own time, preferably to hold discussions. So what makes these rooms discussion friendly? Let me tell you 3 improvements we have planned out for these rooms to make them more discussion friendly. Number 1, mobile furniture. So all these rooms are to be equipped with roller chairs and lightweight tables so that they can be easily configurable. Teachers can have their students working in groups to tackle a problem, or they can have the students face the whiteboard to explain a concept. It's that simple. Movable furniture. Freedom of movement. Number 2, power boards. So as Eric mentioned earlier, power boards are very important for students today. Almost all students own a laptop and bring it to university for their coursework. So it's essential that we cater to their power needs. But unfortunately, in today's engineering tutorial rooms, there are very limited power sources and all of them are located along the side walls. So this causes students to cluster around these 8 to 10 power ports, leaving most of the spaces in the middle of the tutorial rooms empty. So we have a very simple solution for this. By adding more power ports evenly across the floor. This removes the need for students to place themselves in the corners of the class and engages them in active discussions in the middle with the teachers. So power ports easily accessible. And the third improvement we have planned for these rooms is the smartboard. Many of you may have come across this interesting device. This modern day whiteboard makes sharing of information extremely easy. Teachers can just take screenshots or record videos of the day's work and then share it with their students of the class later. That's simple. This eliminates the need for students to constantly keep taking down notes like most of us do, and promotes them to actively interact with their students and their teachers during tutorials as was meant to be. Also, students and teachers don't need to carry around markers and dusters, which are quite a hassle, as you can use just about anything as a marker or a duster, even your own hand. Smartboards for smaller classrooms. So, to recap, mobile furniture, freedom of movement, power ports, easily accessible, and smart boards for smaller classrooms. So these improvements are what makes these rooms special. We also encounter another problem. Students seem to waste a lot of time in searching for these classrooms or spaces to hold their discussions. We feel that we can help them out with this. So we plan to make available the information about when these rooms are actually unoccupied online, so that students do not waste time roaming around the corridors of the faculty searching for a place and can actually plan ahead to hold their discussions. We plan to implement all these changes in 2 stages. The first one being a pilot project of implementing the changes in a few rooms in a very prominent location in engineering, like the 2 rooms along the E4 corridor. And then based on students and teachers' feedback over a semester, we then plan to develop it into a discussion cluster and implement any changes which they feel are needed. So now, let me introduce you to Noel, who will be telling you about what you and I stand to gain from this endeavor. Well, just proceed.
Thank you, Arich. Okay, so right now, I'm going to tell you about 4 main benefits to our proposal. First and foremost, there's going to be enhanced efficiency and engagement. As my teammates have already mentioned, there's going to be configurable classrooms. This means that more time can be spent doing constructive tasks, and students can engage in high-quality discussions. So, more than that, there's going to be a convenience of location. So we don't see students travelling all the way to other faculties to have their project meetings. Instead, they can have their discussions right here within the Faculty of Engineering to hold their discussions. Yeah, and so high-quality discussions can take place. And secondly, this actually leads me to the second benefit, which is that our proposal actually improves the student experience within engineering. From my understanding, Prof. Ang, you have mentioned that the Department of Student Life has actually initiated this department itself for this very purpose. And so, what we are proposing for is actually very much in tandem with our faculty's goals. Already, our faculty has state-of-the-art infrastructure and facilities. We have 100 over research laboratories as well as centers within our Faculty of Engineering itself. In practice, well, I think so. But we cannot just have this amazing infrastructure without the simple yet fundamental spaces available for discussions to take place. So, when we have all these discussion areas available for discussions, that means that there's actually more time spent within the Faculty of Engineering. And so when students spend more time within the Faculty of Engineering, that means there is more opportunities for memories to be created. And they won't just be ordinary memories. They will be fond memories and good and pleasant memories. And why so? Because it's a conducive environment. So our proposal is actually very much enhancing and improving the student life in engineering. And so this actually brings me to my third point, which is actually to look at it from another perspective, is that our proposal actually presents a better utilization of resources. Now, why so? What we are presenting to you, right, is actually a dual purpose usage of the room. And so during lessons, the classrooms will be used. And outside of lessons, these classrooms will still going to be used. We understand that we are not like the Utah N.A.M.E, where they have limited available space, resources, or even budget for implementation. So actually what we are proposing is an improvement in small steps. By starting with our discussion class, by starting with our pilot project instead of the discussion classes first, we are actually looking at it if it's successful in the short term, and then later we can implement it further. We are actually presenting to you lower cost and also lower risk involved. So what we are proposing for is actually very cost effective and very feasible, because our rooms will still serve the 2-in-1 function. And now this actually brings me to the fourth main benefit, which is actually, if you can say, is actually a big picture view of all the other 3 benefits that we have just mentioned. So the first one is enhanced engagement and efficiency. The second one was a better student university life within engineering. And the third one is a cost-effective resource utilization. And all these 3 benefits can tie up to one main big benefit, which is that NUS is going to be who we claim to be, a top-notch, world-class university. Now, what do I mean by that? We actually claim to be a university that offers dynamic learning and a holistic educational experience. And so, when prospective staff and students they come into engineering or in NUS in general, they will not be disappointed. Instead, they will be so proud to see that and so happy to see that, yes, we are having all these discussion spaces that is made available to them. And this only means that we live up to our NUS top-notch profile and also promote our global standing in our university, in the world. So in essence, what have all our teammates and I just covered? We have identified the problem, the lack of discussion spaces. And Eric has shared with us the relevant feedback that we gathered, the desire and need for discussion spaces. And therefore, what we propose is actually a discussion cluster within the Faculty of Engineering itself. So, what do we want all of you to do now? Why are you here for our presentation? Basically, we want to share with you our plan of action, which is the discussion cluster, and we would really want you to consider and review the benefits that we propose so that you would give us your approval. When you do give us your approval, we actually are more than willing to work with all of you to implement the specifics such as the time frame for implementation or even to work out a budget. And engineering club students, you all represent the wider student body, and therefore we really wish for you to lend us your full support. So before we come to the end of our presentation, we would like to show you a video, and it's just a glimpse. Sorry.